Cześć, witajcie. Znajdujemy się właśnie w Paryżu na evencie, na którym mamy możliwość pogrania w wyczekiwaną przynajmniej przeze mnie nową grę Ubisoftu, sandboxową, czyli Watch Dogs. Cała impreza jest bardzo ciekawie przygotowana. Jeśli pamiętacie pierwsze trailery, wszystko wygląda jak wystawa Josefa Di Marco, na którą wbijał się nasz bohater. Za chwilę pokażemy wam, jak to wszystko wygląda. Później opowiem wam pewne wrażenia z rozgrywki, ponieważ zaraz będę miał okazję usiąść do konsoli i przekonać się na własne oczy, jak prezentuje się rozgrywka. Następnie porozmawiamy troszkę z twórcami na temat ich projektu i spróbujemy wyciągnąć parę fajnych informacji. We're here with Kevin Shaw, the story designer for Watch Dogs. Thanks for inviting me here.
Oh, thanks for coming. I hope you've had a good time.
Yes, of course. I wanted to ask you a few questions.
Yes.
Let's start from the beginning. Where did the idea for Watch Dogs come from?
The core idea came from this sense that we wanted to give the players an open world where they could turn a city into a weapon. That was our core idea, our core fantasy. If we could hack into a city and control every aspect of it, that would make for some fun gameplay. And out of that, the story of Watch Dogs came, the themes of hacking, privacy, invasion, secrecy. It all came from that.
Is the story going to be the most important aspect of the game?
The story is an important aspect of the game for sure. I think there's many things that are quite important in the game. All of them work together towards, I think it's the themes that are most important, you know, and all of the aspects of the game work towards that theme. There's the story, there's the gameplay, there's the online hacking, the online tailing. It's all about secrecy, privacy, what that means for, you know, where we're going with technology, how fast we're moving with technology, and what does it mean to have so much access to information.
Isn't there a possibility that gamers having a possibility to play with such a big sandbox game, having being provided with such fun gameplay, will lose track of the story?
It's always a challenge, you know, you always want to make sure that you've got a story that players can follow, because you know that they may put the game down for a week. They may spend hours and hours just wandering, free roaming in the world, and then they're going to come back to your story. So yeah, it's a challenge for sure to make sure that they are able to hold on to the story and make sure that they can follow it. I think we've pulled that off. It takes a lot of iteration. You end up changing a lot of things, adjusting to make sure that players know where they're going, so that they're never lost. And I think we've pulled that off.
Were there any problems translating some of your ideas into an actual gameplay?
We certainly had some challenges in that regard. One thing we wanted to do was we wanted to have this sense that you can track somebody through just through their online profile. You know, we put up so much personal information online all the time. Maybe we take little selfies that we post online for the day. Well, with that, I now know that you're going to wear a green shirt, and I'll be able to find you because you're going to have a green shirt. So we wanted that to be, you know, we wanted that idea to come across, and so we had to work with the LDs and the game design to sort of figure out, well, how do we make that happen? How do we turn that into some fun gameplay? And it works out quite really well in the game.
How's Aiden a unique character? How is he different from Nico Bellic or Ezio Auditore?
I think Aiden's defining quality is the fact that he is this street smart hacker. He's a guy who knows how to handle himself on the street, but he brings hacking tools to the street, which is new. You know, it makes him very powerful, very dangerous. He can be very stealth if he wants to be. He can attack from far away. He can hack into a camera outside this building and do all his attacks from here while he's hacking outside. So that makes him a distinct hero. I'd say in a way he's more of an anti-hero in a way, because he's got, his goals are noble, but I think his methods could be questionable. You know, the powers that you get in the game are truly very powerful and quite dangerous. So how you use them is really up to the player. and so it does make him as an anti-hero, because maybe you don't approve of the way he's going about things, or it's questionable. I think there's it's questionable how far he's willing to go.
Can you tell us something about any other characters? Because up until now, on the trailers, you showed us only Aiden, I think.
Yeah, you haven't seen a lot of characters. I think we've shown a few. You've met Clara. Clara is she's a hacker, and she's a key ally for Pierce. She ends up helping him in his quest to find the people responsible for killing his niece. There's also a new character who you might have met at the very beginning of the game, a guy named Damien Brinks. Now, Damien is an old mentor of Pierce's. He's the guy who actually taught him how to hack a system, and they had a falling out early on, and they now do not speak. So Damien's going to come back in the game, and they're going to have very much a head-to-head, and it's going to be an interesting battle between the two of them throughout the game.
As I recall reading sometime before about the game, you started working on the Watch Dogs before all the invigilation scandals leaked out into public. How do you feel about the game being, I don't know, a bit prophetic maybe?
Yeah, it was. That caught us by surprise. It was right before E3 of last year. 2 days before, we're about to go to E3, and then the news comes up about Edward Snowden and Prism, and so yeah, it was pretty shocking to us to kind of see the themes we're dealing with in our game suddenly hit the front page of every newspaper around the world. I think I think it's going to be nice that players are going to be able to play this game, and it's going to give them a different perspective on what it means to have information out there, what it means to put every bit of information you've got online. What is privacy anymore? Privacy is not the same as it was 30 years ago. It's very different, and I think we all need to slow down and kind of think, how does this affect my life? Who's in control of that privacy? Do I own my own privacy at all anymore? If not me, then who owns it? I think the events on the headline news and our game are they're hitting the same topics, and I'm hoping that players will finish the game and at least be able to bring what they've learned to the game from the game, bring it into the conversation. Be a part of the conversation. Watch Dogs can add to the conversation that people are having about privacy.
Okay, and what were your main inspirations besides Orwell, of course?
Besides what?
Besides George Orwell.
I would say it's been a variety. It's hard to sort of zero in on one and say that was our inspiration. I can say, for me, I did a lot of reading at the time. One of the ones I enjoyed reading at the time was when we started the project was William Gibson. He's got some great writing. He's a guy who writes his books, especially now. The later ones feel very in the present, but they're kind of looking ahead to where we're going, and that's kind of what we're doing in Watch Dogs. It's very much a contemporary game, but it's looking at topics. Like there are no smart cities like a major city like Chicago. That doesn't exist yet, but it's coming. But we wrapped it in a contemporary environment, with the very obvious intent of making you feel like, wow, this is really reflective of my world, because that's the world we live in. We all have our smartphones, and we all put all our information online. So it's worth thinking about.
Is Watch Dogs a complete one-shot story, or would you like to create some kind of Watch Dogs universe?
Well, when we started Watch Dogs, what you end up doing is you have to, if you're going to tell a rich, solid story, you need to create the world for everybody. You need to know the backstory to Bloom, the corporation behind CTOS. You need to know how CTOS was formed, who's running CTOS, where did Aiden come from, all these characters. You need to establish their story, so you get a sense. You can't help but build a universe for this single game. So yeah, I think it's rich enough that there are certainly it could support a bigger universe.
So can we expect in the future something more coming from the Watch Dogs universe? I don't know, like books or...
Yeah, for sure. I think there's, there'll be more to come. One thing we've got coming is we have a DLC that will be coming. That's about all I can tell you on it. But we do have a DLC coming, and who knows? We'll beyond that, it's hard to say. I think it's an exciting universe. I'd love to spend more time in it for sure.
Thank you for your time, it was great having you here.
Thank you.
Wracam do Was ponownie po spędzeniu kilku ładnych godzin z Watch Dogsami. Jak jest? Muszę przyznać, że jest bardzo fajnie, grało mi się mega przyjemnie i właściwie jestem bardzo zadowolony z tego, co zobaczyłem. Miałem okazję pograć trochę sam początek gry, przejść pierwsze misje, poznać początek fabuły. Bardzo fajnie prezentuje się opcja hakowania. Daje ona duże możliwości, możemy zmieniać wszystko, co mieliśmy praktycznie pokazane w trailerach do tej pory, jest obecne w grze. Możemy włączać na życzenie rogatki, powodować, że wybuchają rury, podnosić mosty. Głównie są to opcje przydatne podczas pościgów. Podczas innych misji możemy, chociażby podczas strzelanin, wspomagać się poprzez wysadzanie różnych elementów w pomieszczeniach, podnoszenie bram, otwieranie drzwi i inne tego typu rzeczy. Natomiast fabularnie oczywiście hakowanie przydatne jest do zdobywania informacji, podsłuchiwania rozmów, włamywania się do telefonów. Tak jak było obiecane, każda tak naprawdę osoba w mieście ma pewien swój profil, który możemy podejrzeć i dowiedzieć się ciekawych informacji, czasami zhakować ich konto bankowe, gdzie później za pomocą bankomatu możemy wyciągać pieniądze. Gra się naprawdę przyjemnie. Jedyne, co można grze zarzucić, to jest to, że faktycznie grafika wydaje się być nieco obcięta w stosunku do pierwszych trailerów. Jest to bardzo wyraźnie widoczne i nie możemy spodziewać się graficznej rewolucji. Absolutnie jest to tytuł ładny. Jest ładny. Nie mógłbym powiedzieć, że jest brzydki, natomiast nie jest to tytuł prawdziwie next-genowy pod kątem audiowizualnym. Nie zmienia to jednak faktu, że po spędzeniu tych 3 godzin z grą, z Watch Dogsami, uważam, że to będzie naprawdę świetny tytuł i wyczekuję go właściwie jeszcze bardziej. Nie mogę się doczekać, aż będę mógł włożyć płytkę do napędu i spędzić z nią te kilkadziesiąt, miejmy nadzieję, godzin.